Hello.
Hi. No idea what part of that got.
It turns to water?
It turns to water. She was like, I know. Yes. So Caitlin was drinking out of wanted to drink out of my water bottle, and she asked if there was any water left, and I was like, well, I drank all the water, but there was ice in there, so if the ice melted. So she drinks. She was like, there's water in here, and I was like, yep. Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Never dull.
No, it's not.
Never dull. Hi, Miss Jane.
Yes. Hello.
So, it's been a little nuts around here.
That's crazy.
Lots of things going on. We are madly prepping for the retreat. So if you have not signed up yet, you are missing out. You totally need to go do that. So don't stop watching, but you can go do that on your phone or computer or something.
Or do it
as soon as we end, because you're missing out if you haven't already signed up. Super excited.
Hi from
Florida. Hello. Oh my goodness.
Nice and warm.
I was going to say, I wonder how warm it is there. No doubt.
It's pretty warm here, 82.
It is. It's pretty nice, though. It's not gross 82.
Yeah.
We had some gross 82 about a month ago.
Is it because we started shucking the corn?
Maybe. Got that moisture out of the corn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that what it was? It was the corn moisture?
Yeah. The news people said that the reason that it's so ugly humid here is because the corn sweats.
Corn sweat.
Because you have so much corn, it just makes it super icky here. Yes. So there you go. Now you know.
I'm not really sure how that works, but okay.
Yeah. No, neither.
I mean, haven't we always had a lot of corn around here?
Yeah.
Has it always been like this?
Maybe we do more corn though.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hi, Mom. Hello, Miss Shirley.
Right. Yes.
So thank you all for joining us today.
She was like, what? Feels like it's 100 degrees, she says. That feels warm, I bet.
Yeah, I bet it does. I'm glad that we are not in that 100 index at the moment. That was not fun.
Yeah.
Not fun at all. So, but thank you all for joining us today. We are going to continue our stabilizer adventure. And today's topics are Tearaway.
Yes.
Which we both use quite often, and Wash-Away. So it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing lace, then of course I'm heavy into my Wash-Away.
Yes.
But,
and then some specialty toppers that kind of go with those.
On how much time we have, we'll get into some specialty things as well. So.
Yep. Shirley's never heard that about corn.
Me either.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but that's what they said this year. So
okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. Wonder where that one got pulled out of. But
right.
Don't know. But it doesn't have anything to do with stabilizer. So
no, except for the wet sticky
Except for the wet sticky part, because that does happen. It gets kind of gooey and gross.
That's your stabilizer. Yeah.
Gooey and gross can happen with stabilizer. So maybe it does have something to do with stabilizer.
Right.
Or maybe not.
Right.
So here we go. Let's talk about water soluble.
Apparently we're starting with water soluble.
Yeah, I know, right? Where are we at? Do you want to move that? This says slide 1.
Yeah, it does. So water soluble it is?
Water soluble it is. I'll take water soluble for 500.
Yes. So we always ask the same question, right? How do I use it? How do I get rid of it? Or what's the difference between sticky, rinse away, clear, and mesh?
Oh, I don't know. Just kidding.
We're just wing it. Nothing.
So when do I use it?
Yes.
If you are working on a project, do you have this on another slide?
No.
Okay. I was like, am I not supposed to speak?
Nope.
Are we reading?
Speak. We don't have anything. No.
Okay. So I use water soluble a lot when I'm making lace, which I personally do. So the whole wonderful part of water soluble is that it completely dissolves away in water.
Yep.
So where Tearaway, which we'll get into, you can remove all of the excess around your design, you're still going to have stuff underneath. This, nope, it completely goes away. Around, under, over, outside, the whole shebang. So you should use it whenever you do not want to see any remaining stabilizer when the project is finished.
Yes.
That's when you should use it. How do you get rid of it? That can vary slightly depending upon which water soluble that you're using.
Yeah, they all have their own little unique traits to them. Some will say warm water, some will say cool water. Is the best way to do that is the packaging will tell you.
The packaging will always tell you.
Save your packaging.
You know, if you've taken off your plastic wrap, that's great. There's usually a paper piece inside that tube. Roll it up and tuck it inside the cardboard part so that you can refer it back to that. You may be able to tell what kind it is because we're going to talk about that in a little bit here, just from looking at it, but that doesn't mean you'll know exactly how to get rid of it.
Correct.
So I tend to like really warm water, really like hot almost, as long as I'm allowed to use that.
Yes.
It does tend to make it melt away faster, but sometimes that's not what you're supposed to do. So you should always read the instructions and double check. But warm water does generally go faster than cool water, but it does depend on what you're working with.
Yep.
So what is the difference between sticky, rinse away, clear, and mesh? Oh, a couple things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sticky is sticky.
Yes. So we'll go back to question number 1. When do I use sticky? So a perfect example, I don't know, a couple months ago, probably now, I don't know, time has completely lost all meaning to me at this point, but it's been at least, I think, a couple months. We did a napkin corner. And a napkin corner sometimes has like a lace effect to it. And that's when I have used sticky wash away probably the most, is when I'm doing something with like a lace edging that's attached to still
like when we
something.
did the Tula Pink one up a month ago or so. Yeah.
Maybe that was only a month ago?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Each day seems very long, evidently. But when we did the Tula Pink corner, it gives you, you know, a place to put the item in the design itself, and then you'll usually cut away part, and then the stitches are actually going to attach partly to the finished item, in this case a napkin, and then it would stitch partially onto the sticky wash away, and then when you're all done, the whole thing washes away, and boom, you have a beautiful lacy napkin corner with no stabilizer anywhere.
Yes.
So that is when I use sticky the most. Do you have another?
No, that is typically what I use to sticky
something
for too.
In that vicinity of, it doesn't have to be a napkin corner, but something like that.
Yep.
And where you have a item that you need to attach it to in a specific area, so that sticky keeps it from shifting.
Yes.
So super important on that. So sticky is great. I definitely have that. I think sticky wash away is probably one of the most expensive stabilizers out there. So totally understand that, you know,
you don't want to use it.
You're not going to want to use it for everything unless money is not an option, or not an obstacle, I guess is a better. So, but it is one of the little bit pricier ones that are out there.
Yes. And
so sorry.
The rinse away part, again, just make sure that you pay attention to how it's going to rinse away.
Yep.
And they make like a clear one, which is more like Badge Master and or toppers. So they're not all designed for the bottom.
Right.
And then there is a mesh looking one, which you could definitely get like the water soluble mesh with the no-show mesh mixed up if you weren't paying attention. I've never thought the wash away was no-show mesh.
No-show, but
I have thought no-show mesh was wash away one.
And we can tell you, unfortunately, from experience, if you make that mistake, it doesn't rinse out.
It does not.
No-show mesh, even if you like wave a wand over it, it won't wash out. It's there, and it's unfortunately going to be there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we have no-show over here anymore. Probably not. But here's some on the back of this that I can refer to. I'll show you kind of the difference between them just from a visual look, so that you can see what that would actually end up looking like. So you want me to pop over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's show that. Oh, there we go.
All right. So let's see if I have. This is not attached to the fabric, but if you look really closely, there's tiny little circles that are in this mesh. So this is wash away mesh, and it has tiny little circles inside of the mesh. Hopefully, can you see that on the picture? Okay.
I can, yep.
All right, so this is wash away. The way that I remember that is that the little dots are like drops of water. So the little dots are like water, so that's wash away.
Yeah.
That's how I remember that one. If you look at this, do you see the crosshatch here instead of the circles? Those lines, that is no-show mesh.
Non-washable.
Non-wash away.
Yes.
So you could look at the lines as a, like, no.
Yeah.
Doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So again, The lines do not wash away. This is no-show mesh. This is a cutaway. And the dots are the wash away.
Yep.
So both of them are mesh. They will have mesh on the title, usually in some way, shape, or form, but they are in no way, shape, or form the same thing.
Yep, and show the difference between like the Badge Master, which is a water-soluble backing.
Badge Master. So this is a stabilizer.
Yes.
All right. Not to be confused with a clear topper.
Right.
And I have been asked, I don't even know how many times, can I swap a topper out for my stabilizer? Absolutely not. It is not, doesn't work. Don't do that. All right. So this kind of looks like saran wrap.
But it's thick.
But it is much heavier. It's much plasticier. You can almost see it's got even a width to it. There's definitely something there. You can combine these two together. So the mesh and the Badge Master for some really, really great results. For instance, lace. Absolutely. I no longer, I don't know how I lived without Badge Master all those years because I love lace. And I have definitely had lace not turn out at the very end because something didn't line up because it pulled so hard in the hoop.
Yep.
This will make it not pull in the hoop. So it is a wonderful thing if you are doing a lot of lace or badges, but individual items in your hoop, like multiple items in your hoop.
Yep.
This will keep it from shifting in the hoop. It just is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So this is it open. That's the packaging. Dime also does have, it's called heavy duty water soluble, I believe.
We have the name.
And, you have that up on
next slide, I think I have the name.
So this, we'll come back to this later, but wash away, hydro melt, so it melts in water, right? Topper, very different product.
Yes.
You should keep your toppers separate from your stabilizers so that you don't get them confused. So those are your main ones that you're going to use all of the time. The mesh is available with a sticky backing. And so that's going to be that difference in what you have there. So here's some different options. OESDs calls their wash away, they call it aqua mesh. So
ours is called Sew and Wash. Baby Lax is called Dissolve Away Mesh. Floriani's Wet and Gone. Kimberbell makes Wash Away. So a lot of people make a version of that. They really are pretty similar.
Yeah.
The only thing that really changes is obviously there's something slightly different about the recipe that they put it together because some of them are cooler and some of them are warmer water. So just like I said, pay attention to the version that it is because if it's not washing away the way you think it's supposed to, it might be
needs a different temperature.
It might be a temperature, yeah.
So again, the paper part inside your roll, once you take off and open it, just roll it up and tuck it inside
I think
the
ours
cardboard.
is tucked inside the Badge Master one.
Yeah. So you're gonna.
Yep.
Okay.
This one here.
Okay. So again, this is our open roll of Badge Master, and there's the tube. Gotta lick my finger so I can grab hold of it. Right inside of there, we have our paper. So even we do that. All right, because I don't remember the differences between all of them. So you want to pay attention to that. So just tuck it right inside there. It'll open up and it'll span and stay put pretty easily most of the time. I have occasionally had them try to fall out, but usually they catch and you can kind of, just tap it back in.
Yep.
All right. What do you got?
We have Badge Master. Yay!
Yay! Love Badge Master.
So the Leabu version is called water soluble heavy duty.
I knew it was heavy something. Yeah. I just couldn't remember exactly what it was. So they are pretty dang close to the same product. I would not be surprised that one of them doesn't disappear because they are so close to the same product. And now OESD has purchased Dime. So which is who makes our stabilizer.
Yes. So
we have definitely got some options on there. It is wonderful stuff. Can you use Badge Master by itself?
You can.
Yeah. So depending upon what your project is, sometimes that will call for that. You could even get it a little wet and stick something so it doesn't shift.
Yep.
You know, just lick your finger and smear it over the area that you're going to stick some fabric, and it becomes a little sticky to kind of hold something in place if you really needed to. It definitely is slippery, which is why I'm saying that.
Yeah.
It definitely, if you're going to do applique,
yes,
patch type something, there's a system. Are we going to talk about that in 2 weeks, or
yes.
should we talk about that now?
Well, we can talk about it now. We'll talk about it again.
We'll talk about it again. So the which one you put on top doesn't always make a difference, but it can.
Yes.
So applique is one of those times. So what do you do with that?
When I'm doing applique, because the Badge Master is so slippery, depending on what I need to use to applique, most of the time you're going to put your fabric down and it's you don't necessarily have something sticky on it, right? So maybe you're just going to lay it down and then you want to tack it down afterwards. Well, it's really slick, so it doesn't stay. It also, like, my tape doesn't stick to it. A glue stick doesn't stick to it. So if I'm going to do applique and I'm using 2 different types of stabilizers in there, and Badge Master is one of them, I make sure that Badge Master goes to the bottom. Normally, when I'm stitching with Badge Master and something else, I use Badge Master on the top.
So freestanding lace.
Freestanding lace, I would put Badge Master on the top as opposed to being on the bottom.
Because there's less stretch there, so it doesn't give your stitches any chance to shift.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So it really helps to hold everything together. So there's always, I feel like there's always an exception to like the general rule. And so normally, with the exception of applique, Badge Master goes on top. And I traditionally use, like, I will make a sandwich, like if I'm gonna just dump a whole bunch of stuff in my hoop.
So you're gonna use your 10.5 by 16, or maybe you're lucky and you have the new machine and you have the 11, what is it, 11 and 5/8 by 18 1/4. You can fit a lot of stuff in there.
You can fit a lot of stuff in there, but you need more. So the bigger it is, the more stabilizer
that you need to have in there. So you want to make sure that there's no shifting, and so more stabilizer equals less shifting.
Yes.
And that's the game. That's the gig.
That's the gig. Yep. So
So
I will.
So when you say sandwich, you sometimes will do like Badge Master, mesh, wash away, and then Badge Master.
Yes.
And make a sandwich.
Yes.
Yep.
So that helps to hold things together a little bit better. So yeah.
So what do you do if the Badge Master doesn't fit your hoop?
Just layer it over top of each other.
Make a line.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, and I don't even do.
Which you would not normally do with most stabilizers.
No.
But this one.
It's perfectly fine.
It doesn't stretch. So, I mean, it's in there.
Yeah, I just overlap them by like maybe an inch or so and just lay them on top of each other.
There you go.
I try to make sure that the line is not like perfectly in the center. Like I try to have it slightly off, skewed a little bit, but sometimes it needs to be in there. So
it depends on your hoop, for sure.
Yeah.
All
but
right.
I don't like stitch it together or worry about it. It'll stay just fine.
It's kind of sticky in the hoop edges. Yeah.
And then sticky water soluble.
Not actually sticky, but it grips.
Yes.
Not actually sticky.
Yeah, not sticky like this sticky.
Yeah. I didn't mean to impress upon that one. So sorry. Sticky water soluble.
Yes. The last time we did a bundle, we had Aqua Mesh Plus as our sticky water soluble, but we have done the Kimberbell version. I don't think we've ever done our version yet.
I don't think so.
But honestly, they really are all the same. And like Lisa said, it is the most expensive stabilizer that you have, and probably the one that I want to sit around the least.
Yeah.
It gets gummy.
It gets gummy.
The longer it sits around outside of like that freshly sealed package. One of the things that we like about the OESD product is that they have project rolls.
Yep.
So they have a smaller version of this that only is a couple yards.
Instead of having to buy 10 yards, you get 3.
Yes.
Which for a lot of times, that's all you really needed.
Yeah.
And rather than having 6 yards sitting around for 6 months or a year or whatever until you need it again and letting it gum up. Now, we'll talk about it with toppers and things, but you can help with not having oxygen. So get a Ziploc bag, get as much air out as possible, and seal the bag so it's not getting oxygen into that sticky.
Yep.
Because that's what's really making that. So you can help that. That will not completely get rid of it, but it will help it not be as bad.
Yep. So lots of different. Oh, so sorry. Oh. I took a muscle relaxer last night that I don't normally do
Oh.
because I helped Dave take that
Right,
the tool
Yep.
chest up the stairs, and I feel like I'm still sleeping from it. I woke up really groggy this morning.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, just not. My brain is like, it's like on a 1 second delay.
Well, I keep finding that the delay from here to here, sometimes something comes out of my mouth and I'm like, what did I just say? That's not what I meant. I'm so sorry. It's like I have Tourette's or something. I don't know. Not a bad side of Tourette's. Just the okay side. It just sometimes wrong words. Boop. That's not what I meant.
Yeah, we talked about kind of the things that you can use this for. You know, chiffon, organza. Oh gosh. Once you start, right? Sheer lightweight materials, I'm boring myself. Most of the time, aqua mesh likes a lukewarm water though, not too hot. And one of the things to also be mindful of, if you are using water soluble stabilizer, make sure what you're using it on can be washed.
Yeah.
Because
if you're not supposed to get whatever that is wet,
it's just not the right choice.
It's not the right choice for you.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, if you have a little extra, stick it in the water and see how it behaves, because
cut off a little corner and see what happens.
Yeah, you do not want to leave water soluble, sticky water, especially sticky water soluble, on for a long time. The meshes and the Badge Master, they get kind of like crinkly with age, but yeah, you don't want to leave it there forever. I use Tearaway for everything. Looks like I need to step up my game. Holly, I'm so disappointed in you. We've taught you better.
So we're going to talk about Tearaway in a few. Tearaway is a great product,
right,
but it does not work for everything, unfortunately, and there's reasons why. So we'll get into that too. We did talk a little bit last week with the cutaway, why you should use cutaway, same questions that we started with today. So, you know, there are times and
I'm making Jane yawn too.
Oh, they do catch, like over the phone, over video. It's terrible, isn't it? I can't believe I haven't started yawning yet. It's like, I'm just like,
yeah,
that's what I'm doing. Just not going to look at you.
Exactly. It's better that way.
So let's talk about Tearaway.
Yes.
Again, when do we use it? How do I get rid of it? What is the difference between sticky, lightweight, medium weight, heavyweight, soft, firm? How many kinds do I really need?
One.
No. For the most part. I will say sticky Tearaway, in my opinion, is a must-have.
Yeah.
I do like towels and different things like that. And that is, for me, the only option. A lot of people will use sticky Wash-Away for that because they are concerned with the loops. I've not had enough issue, I guess, with that to deter me from that, especially for the extra expense. I'm happy with my Tearaway. So. But, so let's talk about heavyweight. Is this your favorite?
It is.
Yeah, it's all of our favorites.
Yeah.
So the heavy Tearaway is maximum stability. I mean, this is just fabulous stuff. You can use this on heavy fleece. You can use it on jackets, large stitch counts. So when you have something that is just way too many stitches for whatever you're putting it on, what happened?
The mouse is like magically moving by itself. I was like, what in the world is going on?
You mean on the screen, but it wasn't moving on the table.
Right. I was like, how did that, that's why I was looking at it. Like, is it really moving?
Maybe there's a fly on the on the touchpad over there. Who cares? I don't know. Well,
sorry, totally distracted. Squirrel moment. So not all heavyweight Tearaways are created equal. The Leabu heavyweight Tearaway, again, our Leabu brand is made by Dime, so we buy that from them. And that is the heaviest of any heavy Tearaway that's out on the market. It is fantastic stuff. This is so heavy. It's like a thin cardboard. I mean, it is very, very heavy Tearaway, and it perforates itself almost underneath. So it tears away clean.
When you are, you know, the question about how do I get rid of it, you turn your hoop over and pull off the scrap piece that's there. And if there's pieces in the middle, you literally can like push from the back or from the front to the back, and it just pops right off. Out. It's so easy to use. It's just phenomenal. You can add this. I usually adding it as a float. Yeah. So I'm adding it to a cutaway or to another Tearaway, depending upon what I'm what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I'm adding this in generally to stabilize a larger stitch count.
Yep.
How often do you put this in your hoop?
Only when I'm using a magnetic hoop.
Yes. So this is literally so heavy that trying to put it in a standard hoop and pushing it down, it doesn't bend up that easily. Can you do it? Yeah. Is it going to hurt your hands? Yeah. But you can make it happen. It is much, much easier to put something else in the hoop and then float that underneath.
Yeah.
Or use a magnetic hoop.
Yeah. And I was going to say about magnetic hoops, easier to use on the dime style magnetic hoops that have the solid top piece that comes down.
Because they don't bend it at all. It's flat.
Yes.
Yep.
The 5x7 and like the 7x12 magnetic hoops that we have, I love them. But one of the things that I love about them is that they're also a little bit lighter weight. Those magnets are not quite as strong. And when you try to use this heavy weight in there and you get it, sometimes it wants to, it just doesn't stick. It just doesn't stick well. So it's
you can
really
use
stiff.
It. It's just, it's more work to get it in the magnetic hoop, but you can use it.
Yeah.
It is, in order of favorites, I would put this, if I'm putting it in the hoop, I would do a dime magnetic hoop, a Brother Baby Lock magnetic hoop, and then a standard hoop.
Yes.
And I would really avoid the standard hoop if you can.
Yeah. And honestly, if you like the only reason that I have two heavyweight tearaways in my arsenal is because sometimes I do want to hoop it, and the OESD stabilizer is their heavyweight.
Wait, it's called heavyweight. It's not the same? It's not the same.
Oh. It's a little bit thinner, and that one is actually...
It does bend.
It does
just
bend.
Enough you can put it in the hoop.
So it will go in your hoop really well. It still provides a lot of support, but it's not quite as it's as heavy. It's just not as stiff.
So I mean, you guys know we do like the stiff stuff.
We do like it stiff.
We do like it stiff. It definitely makes all things better from an embroidery standpoint.
Yes.
But sometimes you do need to put it in the hoop for whatever that is, and that's when having that backup that's not quite as heavy is going to help. So those names of those other ones are Kimberbell's is called Heavy Tearaway, Floriani is called Heavyweight Firm, Baby Lock's is called Tearaway Firm, and OESD is Heavyweight Tearaway. So my personal opinion, Baby Lock and Floriani's Heavyweight Firm Tearaway is more like a medium tearaway. It is not actually a heavyweight comparatively to the others.
No,
not
when
even
you're comparing.
Not,
not even
I mean,
close.
if you're literally stacking them up next to one another, they are more like a medium tearaway than the OESD and the Leabu dime. It's very, very different. I don't know if I've ever used Kimberbell's Heavy Tearaway.
It's like Floriani's and Baby Lock's. It's
a much different comparison wise. If you're looking for a true heavyweight, you want either the OESD or the Leabu. Our preference is Leabu, but we do sometimes need that other for actually hooping items.
Right. Like if you're trying to make like the tiling scene things, and you don't want to float everything underneath it, and you want to try to hoop your heavyweight tearaway, the OESD is easier to hoop in that instance. But
it is. I definitely have hooped the Leabu tearaway.
Yeah.
Don't misunderstand. You can do it. It's just really stiff.
It's really hard.
And when you go to slide that in, your fabrics, if you have like fabrics overhanging, they're like sticking up because that tearaway is just like a wall on the outside of your hoop because it doesn't bend.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a different experience for sure.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely something you need to have in your bin of your stash, whatever you call it, wherever you put it. And yes, like Jane said, the Leabu heavyweight tearaway is the best. It literally it's just clean.
Cleans,
it's just it pretty much perforates itself, but it still stays and moves along with your hoop. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful piece to have for sure.
So if you're going to use tearaway as your primary stabilizer, you want to make sure that whatever it is that you are putting your embroidery on is stable enough to support whatever stitches you are putting on there. So it needs to basically be able to support the design without stabilizer. And the only reason you have to have some stabilizer to basically to make the whole thing work together, right? But you know, sometimes you're doing a canvas tote bag, or you know, some maybe a jean jacket, or maybe you're doing some quilted wall hanging where you have easy tea and you've used a whole bunch of starch and you've got, you know, batting
is
inside
in there. So
there.
You've got multiple other things helping.
But you still need, because you're doing words and you're doing things that want to draw in, you still need something stable. So most of the time, Lisa and I are using our tearaways that are not sticky as our secondary option.
So we've got something else happening. Most of the time for me, tearaway is not in the hoop unless it's sticky. That is the only one I actually hoop is the sticky tearaway for most of the time.
Yes.
And then it's floating it underneath. Have you ever floated 2 different pieces at different times? Because like that one did perforate and you've had to put another one in there for a different section.
Yes.
So, you know, like we were saying, it literally will loosen that outside edge. If you've had a ring around something, it will actually loosen it. So there are going to be times where I have slid that out, chucked that part, and then put another one in for a different area of the hoop or something like that. So do keep that in mind. If you're seeing some drag on your hoop, it might be that it perforated out underneath. But
Beth has a good question. Do you ever use tearaway embroidery on I'm batting for your towel? Yeah. So, or just stick with wash-away. Lisa uses sticky tearaway a lot with her towels. I use heavyweight with my towels, and because I normally do them in my magnetic hoop.
Right.
So
you can hoop that easily.
Yes. I will use just a little bit of either 505 or a little glue stick to just get my towel stuck to my stabilizer just a little bit, so that when I put it in the hoop, it's exactly where I want it. But of course, now I have a camera and a projector, so getting the design where I want it is not a problem.
So one of the other things that I have done if I am hooping, and I haven't done this in a long time because there's so many other options now, but what I used to do quite often was use my basting stitch to hold my loose item down on my tearaway that was in my hoop.
Yes.
So that doesn't exactly replace having it hooped or having it stuck.
Right.
But it is going to be the next best thing to keeping that in position. A glue stick can help those kinds of things, but maybe you don't have that, or it's dried up.
Yeah, that happens.
Whatever happens, right? And you're like, well, how else can I do this? A lot of our machines now have that basting stitch that you can add in. On the Brother Baby Lock machines, it's going to look like a flower with a dotted line rectangle around it. That is your basting stitch. So if you have a button that looks like that on your embroidery page, you have a basting stitch. And when you tap that, it becomes the first stitch in your design. Instead of adding it at the end, it adds it at the beginning. So the very first thing it does, for instance, on a towel, I have it laid down where I want it to go, and then it tacks it down. It literally sews it with really big stitches. They're like almost a 1/2 inch big.
Yeah.
They're huge. So they're super easy to take out. But it tacks that down to where I want it to be, so there's no shifting as it's stitching.
Yep, absolutely. And like we talked a little bit about this last week when we were talking about, fusing things, keeping in mind that when your stabilizer is stuck to your project, depending on your design, if you have a design and that design basically goes and it's heavy stitching and it goes from the left to the right, and the only thing that you have underneath it is a tearaway stabilizer and it's not stuck to it, it's going to stretch.
It's going to push that fabric.
Yeah, even if you have non-stretchy fabric, it's going to push the fabric, and you're going to kind of get like little wrinkles and ripples and tunneling and things like that, because the stabilizer is basically, the stitches are basically pushing and it's not stuck. So using a sticky tearaway on a towel that's going to have heavy stitching or something like that is really a better choice than using a float or a towel
even in the hoop, but not actually stuck to one another.
Yes, because they are going to shift and move around on you. So just be mindful of that and the design that you're stitching out. Now, if you have a design that is really well digitized, and that means like you're doing a big design,
it's moving
well, and it lays down like a good underlay stitch on it, then it's stuck to the stabilizer now, so that's not going to happen. But a lot of digitizers these
It's gonna,
days
it
don't
might
do
have an
that.
underlay, but it underlays the first letter and then it stitches the first letter and then
Yep.
it underlays the second letter. Well, that's still pushing everything to the right. So
Yep.
when you get to the edge, you might end up having a bump of towel, fabric, whatever it is at the edge of your hoop because it's pushed it all the way over there.
Right.
So when we talk about fusing to keep something from shifting or stretching, this is what we're talking about. So when we have a tearaway, there is fusible tearaway. I almost never use it, but there is a fusible tearaway. I generally will use sticky versus the fuse. It's just easier for me.
Right,
But there is a fusible tearaway that you can use, but that fuse keeps the two together instead of having them start to separate inside your hoop.
Yeah.
So that's why we want something actually stuck to the stabilizer, either by basting, glue, sticky, or fusible.
Yeah. And that's also the primary reason why a lot of times we talk about like why tearaway isn't our primary version, because most of the time it doesn't stay stuck.
It's not actually, when you start and halfway through,
right,
3/4 of the way, it's not actually attached in different spots. It's a loose float. Even if it's in the hoop, it's still floating the two between because they're not stuck together anywhere in there.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. Good stuff.
Good stuff. We talked a little bit about the sticky tearaway. Again, OESD does give us project roles, which allow you to try different types of stabilizers without committing to a 10 yards of something, because maybe you just want to try it out, which is really nice. And even if the OESD project role, even if that doesn't turn out to be the exact favorite version of that, it's still good enough to start.
It's a good try out when you're like, I'm not sure if I like this.
Yeah.
But I'd like to try it once. Can I just get a piece? Well, we don't sell a piece, unfortunately, but we can sell you a very small roll.
Yes, exactly. So it's a really nice way of trying out something. Mostly, if it's a sticky tearaway, they're all kind of the same.
For the most part, yeah. There's not, the tearaway on there is kind of a medium tearaway, but with the sticky, it gives it more support, so it acts like it's a little bit heavier because it's not shifting in there. It's actually stuck to whatever you're stitching on. That said, you can still float heavy tearaway under sticky tearaway to help with tunneling and things, because if depending upon your stitch, especially fonts, if you are doing, Sarah loves fonts, like subway fonts where they're like all over the place and they're going different directions. Well, that's just pushing that fabric all every which way.
Yeah.
So that heavy tearaway is really going to help because there's a lot of stitches that are in there, and you're going to try to keep that from happening. So,
yes. Yeah.
Floating and if you don't have the heavy, float a medium. Just give yourself a little extra boost because it's going to help.
Yeah.
For sure.
If you like doing letters and labels and stuff like that, you definitely want to invest in a heavyweight tearaway. Absolutely. Because one of the things that I will say is, yes, you can layer multiple stabilizers underneath them, but if that stabilizer, you aren't actually adding any stability if you add a tearaway underneath it and it's soft.
Right.
It's not going to fix the issue. Most of the time,
like the garbage bags. Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy.
Exactly. Most of the time, the reason we need more stabilizers is because we see that it's starting to pull in and you're starting to get wrinkles. The way to avoid that is to put something stiff on the bottom of it so that it stops that.
So can I stop partway through my embroidery and add it partway through if things aren't looking great?
Yes. It
Absolutely.
won't fix the original part.
Right, but it'll keep it from continuing.
Yes,
so
it will not get worse.
It won't make it worse, and it should honestly even out a little. It's not going to get rid of it. So, I mean, if you were like, 5 letters in and you're like, oh, those 5 letters are still going to look like they were, but you can fix. So if you're seeing like, wow, there's a little tunnel on that one, stop it, cut your thread, throw some heavyweight underneath, and then start again.
Yes.
And you will be so happy you did.
Yeah. And those are really the two, the sticky tearaway and the heavyweight tearaway are the two that we use most of the time. Again, I have the OESD brand and our brand just because I like to have a slightly lighter version just in case I'm hooping something.
Yeah.
And then sticky tearaway, but I don't use any other type of tearaway at all. I know some people will use, like, they're making like vinyl bags in their hoop, you probably can get away with like a lightweight tearaway,
because the vinyl itself is so stable.
right? And the thing about those is they don't necessarily tear away clean, but usually it doesn't matter because it's going to be on the inside of something and you won't see it.
Yep.
OESD makes something called Ultra Clean and Tear.
Yep.
That's pretty good for doing that type of project.
It's not as heavy, but it cleanly separates from your stitches. That's, I guess, the problem when you get those lighter weights and you go to tear them away. I have actually torn stitches with the lighter weight tearaway because it didn't perforate on its own, and when I pull it out, it's pulling the stitch with it because the the stabilizers that's underneath that stitch, and you can't get rid of it easily. Yes, you can be careful and gentle and whatnot, but I have actually had stitches pop. Trying to tear away a lighter weight tearaway, so that kind of steered me away from them. So
and if you do use the heavyweight tearaway, one of the things that I like to do when I'm doing those things is like I just fold, kind of like when you were a kid and you were folding the paper so that it would rip easy. I just take, it usually in this instance, it's usually just a square, so you just fold one edge a couple of times and then it comes right off, and then the same thing with the top and the bottom and the other side. That makes that easy. Try not to rip it because again, that's how you rip your stitches.
You can rip out the stitches, unfortunately, and that's, of course, no bueno.
Yeah, it does not help.
Nobody likes that one. So toppers are a completely different category. They are not a stabilizer, and we do definitely hear people substituting one for the other. Is that okay? I was like, if you got it, I totally get that. So toppers cannot be substituted as a stabilizer. So these go on top of the project to generally separate your stitches from some area. That's generally how it's giving it a level playing field for stitches to play on instead of a bumpy sweater or something that's got like a heavy seam or something like that, and you're trying to stitch over that. The topper is going to help with that because it gives it a flat surface, so you get a little bit, you see the stitches sit up pretty instead of sink in
they
to whatever that happens
in.
in. So when do I use them? Well, lots of times. Leathers.
Leather, vinyl.
Vinyl can. I do a lot of towels. I always use a topper when I'm doing a terry towel. So terry towels have those loops, right? If those loops are in my stitches, they don't look pretty. And because the loops are taller than my stitches, a lot of times the loops actually hide whatever design that I'm putting on there if I don't use a topper. There are things like knockdown stitches that you can use to go around a design or something that will also give you a better, which is a great option if that's your thing. A lot of times that doesn't work for what I'm doing. So that's not an option for a lot of the times what I'm putting on towels. And I'm talking, again, the terry loops and things like that. I don't generally use them on a tea towel unless there's like a waffle weave or some crazy
or tiny letters.
Or if I'm using tiny letters. I do use toppers on a moisture wicking fabric.
When we said tiny letters, my head went to like Tiny Dancer, and now that's playing in my head.
I got tiny bubbles in my head, so what are we gonna do? Just never know what's gonna pop in our heads. But the tiny letters will sink in and be very, very hard to see. And so it's definitely a good option for that. So when when what you're stitching on has loft, or it has some sort of a 3D something. So a sweater that has, the knit stitches that are up and down, or whatever that happens to be, terry towels, leather, they're going to sink in. And then you're going to lose the visual of some of the stitch. Unfortunately, it just happens. So
something like marine vinyl,
absolutely,
fur.
Oh, big time. Absolutely. Any of those kinds of things, they can sink in. You actually lose visibility of the design in some spots of that. So the toppers will give it a surface to stitch on that makes it much pretty. They sit up pretty and you can see what's happening so much better. Well, how do you get rid of it? It depends on which one you use.
Yes. There's most of the time there's a water wash away
Water soluble and
or
a
a heat
heat
away.
away.
Mhm.
And which one I choose really depends on, one, what I'm stitching on, and
Yep.
two, what my pattern looks like. So there are times where I would use a heat away, but I have really tiny letters that have little tiny circles, and
Mhm.
getting your heat into
Mm.
those tiny spots is extremely difficult. Well, that's
Yeah.
the only way to get rid of that.
Right.
If you try pulling that out with tweezers, you're pulling your stitches out, and that's no bueno either. So I definitely decide based on what I'm stitching and what I'm stitching on.
Yeah.
So the heat away is a wonderful top. It's a wonderful topper. I really like the heat away. That generally has kind of bumps on one
Mhm.
side. And how we doing?
We're fine.
Okay. Hey, we're live.
We're live.
That's crazy. Did you know that?
No.
Huh. Go figure. See what you get when you look at your watch. So the heat away I really like because it doesn't go away. So
Mhm.
it stays underneath whatever I'm stitching.
Yep.
Because the only thing that disappears is what is hit by your iron.
Yep.
So can you use that on all products? I mean, I'm supposed to iron my leather, right?
Totally.
You know what happens when you hit your iron to your leather? You get a really pretty mark on there. It's not so pretty.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't use heat away on leather because I can't get rid of it.
Right. Even though it would be a great
It would be a
option.
great option for it, but I can't get rid of it. So therefore, that's not the best option
Yep.
for that. However, my terry towels,
Mhm.
if my design allows for it, because
Yep.
I don't have any tiny spaces that I'm trying to remove it,
Mhm.
I am absolutely going to use it on those terry towels, because no matter how many times that towel is washed, those little loops will never work their way through my stitches because
Mhm.
there's a permanent block between them. So it is a wonderful, wonderful thing for that, but it does not always work, unfortunately.
Jane has a good tip for us. You can get rid of heat away with a pink school eraser.
Ooh.
We'll have to try that. I have some.
I
of
will
those.
have to try that.
Yeah.
You have
Thanks.
pink school erasers? Imagine that.
Imagine that.
You have
yes.
a box full?
Uh-huh. Not quite as many as the push pins, but pretty close.
We both happen to like office supplies just a little bit. If you ever need a pen, we totally got you. Totally got you. I will have to try that.
Yeah.
So that is where I use the heat
Mhm.
the most, is on those terry towels, because for a visual, if this is my stitch, and I know I'm a small little square down there, but if my stitch is this level and I have terry loops down here, if I use a heat away topper, it doesn't matter what happens because it's going to stay underneath there, right? So it won't be able to work its way up.
Right.
If I used water soluble, I throw it in the wash, that topper's gone.
Mhm.
First wash, it's
First
gone.
wash. Yep.
As I wash it and I wash it and I wash it,
More
50
goes.
washes down the line, I'm going to get terry loops coming up through my stitches.
Yep.
It's just
It's
it's just going to happen. And is that a terrible thing? I mean, if it's a Christmas tree and you have it on a white towel, it's going to look like a snowy, kind of a snow sprinkled tree.
Snow, yeah.
Might look really good. If it's something else, maybe not so much. So keeping those blocked down there it's a wonderful option, but it's not always going to be an option. So you
Right.
do have to be willing to adjust as that is. The wash away is obviously way easier to get rid of.
Mhm.
I will say wash away gets, as we were talking about, it gets crinkly.
Yeah.
It gets harder. So again, putting that in a Ziploc bag and keeping as much air out of that as possible will make the longevity of that work better. What else you got?
That's it.
I mean, I know I said a lot.
Yeah, no, that's good. And do you really need them? Yes.
Absolutely. Do you need them on every project?
No.
No. So you will probably attend a stabilizer seminar somewhere, and they will tell you, you need to put a topper on everything. Here's the skinny. They're just trying to sell you some stuff. So do you need toppers in your repertoire of goodies to have when you need it? You do need it. But do you need it on every project? Nope. It is an absolute waste of money on a t-shirt of most times. If it's a really thick, squishy t-shirt, then yeah, maybe. Tea towels, I don't find that I need it on most tea towels. Pillowcases, all that kind of standard cottons, You do not need that.
Mm-mm.
It is actually a waste. Do I need to fill my hoop with a topper?
Mm-mm.
Nope, you need to put it over whatever area you are stitching.
Yep.
So I do recommend that you tape down corners. I have had my foot catch on the edge and rip it in and cause a clump of topper. It makes the topper a lot harder to get rid of if you have a whole clump of it, and it can actually screw up the stitches if you have like layers.
Yeah.
Even when you get rid of it, those will look loose because they don't look quite right.
Exactly.
So I do recommend that you tape down the edges if it's a long stitch out and you're not holding it and just doing a quick little something or other and then you're taking it off. But and they are both a tearaway.
Yes.
So you tear away as much as you possibly can, and then you either rinse or heat them away.
Yeah, and the thing about the heat away is you do have to be sure to heat it away properly.
Yes, and we have, I won't say we all have been there, but most of us have probably been there where we had a heat topper on and we couldn't get it to go away, or it turned into little balls of plastic that were like, holy crap, I can't get this off.
Yeah.
You end up actually cutting them off with scissors, and you know, it's a
Yeah,
hot mess,
yeah.
right? So there is a difference from one topper to another. Even in a heat topper, different heat toppers will require a different temperature.
Yep.
It is not the hottest you could possibly get your iron, which your brain is probably going to say, oh, the hotter it is, the easier it'll melt. Nope. The hotter it is, the more it sticks to the bottom of your iron.
Yes.
And makes a big mess.
Yes.
The other thing with the heat away is you should be pressing the topper away, not ironing it away.
That is a big one.
Huge, huge. So those little plastic balls that I was talking about a second ago, that's what happens when you do this with your iron, trying to get it, you know, a whole section. Like, we'll just keep moving it around. I'll hit that. I'll hit everything. Don't do that, because you're actually twisting it, and it just makes these little hard plastic knots. It's not fun.
No.
So we're literally press, lift, move, press. I mean, that's the only way to get rid of topper. And again, the temperatures are going to range. They are usually a middle of the road temperature. Too hot is a bad thing.
Right.
It makes it really shiny.
And then you know you did it wrong.
And you're like, oh crud, that was
That's
bad.
That was
bad.
What I wanted.
That's not what I wanted. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, we will. Water-soluble topper. There are a lot of different water-soluble toppers. A topper is definitely different than a water-soluble stabilizer. They cannot be used interchangeably. This is entirely too weak. This is really, really, really.
There's nothing in there to stabilize anything.
No, it'll just come right through.
You will end up with a in your hoop. It just sucks everything right in. You'll get twisted fabrics in a hot mess on the back, because it'll tear right out of the hoop.
Yep.
As soon as something tries to move, it'll just literally rip it. So it, especially if it's older and it's brittle, it just falls right. I mean, it's not a pretty thing. So please, please, please do not attempt to use them interchangeably, because they are not going to work that way. It doesn't even look the same.
No. So
you shouldn't ever be confused which one is which. And a lot of times your topper is going to be a shorter roll than a standard stabilizer, because you don't need to hoop the whole thing. You're only covering the area that you're embroidering. So in general, we don't need as big of a piece. So a lot of times it will come on a little bit smaller roll. Toppers are not generally very expensive. So definitely worth the investment to have in your stash.
Yep. And like I said, they're pretty much all the same. So you've got Kimberbell, which is Wash-Away. You have Floriani, water soluble. Baby Lock is Hydro Melt. That's the one that I get the most confusing. I know that Hydro is in it, but when it says melt in my mind, I want that to be heat away, and it's not. So I don't. They could have just put Hydro topping.
So what you need to think about is that is the witch.
Right.
I'm melting. Yes, that was when water got dumped on. Yeah, that's what that one means. That's all I got, guys. See how my brain works.
And then the OESD one is Stitch H2O, and ours is Leabu water soluble topping. So again, they're all pretty much
and I do want to point out all of those names have topping
in them.
In the name.
Yep.
Very important.
Yeah. So these are just a couple of tips that we want to leave you with. We are not going to do stabilizers next week. We'll probably try to
I'll
at
try
some
to
point
pop in
and talk about what's new at Brother.
I don't know. I have to look up. I don't even. What's the time frame? What time is it in Texas right now?
Yeah.
I have to look that up.
But we won't do stabilizers because Lisa's going to be away at the Brother convention. We will pick back up on stabilizers the week after, and we'll show you samples
and we will talk about our recipes. So this is if last week, if you were following in the comments, somebody was like, "Are those cards still available?"
Yeah, we'll
make sure that they are available for download on the website.
Yep, and I'll put them in the email with a link to the download when we get to there. So it'll be 2 weeks from today before we do that.
So next week, I will be at Brother Convention, and we may have some fun news to share on Wednesday. So, but it will not be about stabilizers.
It will not be about stabilizers.
It'll be about other things.
Yes, yes, yes. It's 3:26.
It's only an hour difference?
Behind.
Really? Okay, good to know.
That's not terrible.
Nope. I can maybe remember. I mean, I'll just skip a class. I don't know what class it'll be. We'll see what class it is, and we'll go from there. But maybe you can get started, and I'll pop in.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. We'll talk. We'll figure it out.
But here's just a few general tips that we always tell everybody.
Thanks, Jane.
When they're new to embroidery, and when you've been experienced embroidery, these are the things that we find ourselves saying all the time.
Yes.
So always do a test sew. Otherwise, you fall into the category of I wish I did a test sew. When you're trying a new design, a new designer, a new technique, something like that, always be prepared for it to not work out or
not work the same as some other designer, because everybody does their underlay a little different, or maybe they don't do underlay or whatever it is. But when you jump around, just because you've stitched on that t-shirt type before doesn't mean the design is going to behave the same way as something else. So we've got rough recipes that we'll talk about again in a couple weeks, and the things that we've said, we put it on this, we put it on that. That's standardized, going to be okay, but that might be I need to add that tearaway float underneath the cutaway on this designer's where that one's I don't, or whatever. So be prepared for changes.
Yes. Always make sure your fabric is pre-washed or pre-shrunk. And if using a new stabilizer on something that will be washed, make sure you know if that will shrink as well. One of the second most frustrating things that happens when you're embroidering is it looks beautiful, and then you wash it and it does not look beautiful anymore because the fabric or the stabilizer has shrunk up and now it looks completely different.
It's now skewed.
And that's really disappointing. And so try to make sure that you're giving yourself enough time that if it's something that is going to be washed, that you pre-wash it ahead of time, or soak that area in enough water so that it shrinks
so that it's at least been pre-shrunk.
Yeah, and then know how your stabilizer is going to react when it gets with water too, because that will pay attention. Keep your embroidery bobbins and your sewing bobbins separately. They are typically a different weight. It happens all the time. My bobbin thread is popping up to the top. Well, what do you have in your bobbin thread? Well,
you think you knew that answer.
Yeah, bobbin thread, but maybe it really isn't the right bobbin thread.
So bobbin boats are wonderful for those. You can have them color coded. So, the green one is for embroidery and the purple one is for sewing, and you never get confused, because yes, we do have white and black sewing thread that we don't want to swap interchangeable. Yeah. So.
And we do starch our fabric before hooping it. This prevents the fabric from being stretched. Again, almost everything you get these days is stretchy.
Yes.
It's really hard to get something that isn't. So the starch does help with that extra stretch. Again, if we stretch it when it goes into the hoop and then we take it out of the hoop, it's going to relax back.
It's going to relax back, and what looked beautiful in the hoop, the moment you pop it out, you go, wait a second, what just happened?
And then that last piece is basically just like that. Resist the urge to pull your fabric. I know you want it to be drum tight. I don't know who started that, but it doesn't have to be drum tight.
I know the first place I heard it, but
but when you pull on your fabric, you will distort the grain of fabric. And again, as soon as you take it out, it's going to relax again and you're going to get those wrinkles.
So pre-tensioning your hoop is much better. So put the fabric in, get it as tight as it's supposed to be, pop it out, and rehoop. So you have the right tension. It is tight, and it will be much, much easier to not have all of those wrinkles. But it is far better to have a small little wrinkle in like the upper corner of your hoop. Leave it alone than tugging on it and pulling to get that out, and then you've distorted everything in the hoop. Do I think you should leave wrinkles all over the place? No, you should rehoop if that's the case. But just a little guy in the corner, there's no reason that you you know, can't kind of shift. Leave that alone as long as your design's not going to be right on top of it. But you know, a lot of times those wrinkles are off
They're going to be fine.
They're usually off to the side. Just leave it alone. It's fine. It's much better than pulling and, you know, holding down and doing one of these on the sides. Don't do that.
Marilyn is asking, in an emergency, can you use Badge Master as a topper or is it a sticky mess? Oh, look, it looks like we just lost Facebook.
Awesome. What does that say?
It is possible your stream has ended or deleted on Facebook.
Oh, that's fun.
Okay, well, let's answer.
Hopefully Marilyn can hear this at some point.
You can use Badge Master as a topper. It is substantially thicker. You can't pull it away.
You can't tear it away, which is going to be the difficult part of that. You can still trim as close as possible. It's going to take a lot more rinsing than getting rid of a wash-away topper. If that's literally the only thing that you can do, then you certainly could fudge that. I mean, but it wouldn't be my first choice.
Right. Yeah, I can't seem to reconnect it. So hopefully.
Well, we're just about done. So hopefully she'll either reach out or something. So hopefully you're like Shirley and some of this information. Oh, look at you. Popped onto YouTube. Did you hear us answer?
Yeah.
We want us to answer again?
It just said that we lost our Facebook connection. We were just saying that you could use Badge Master as an emergency, but one of the distinction differences between the Badge Master and your topper is the thickness of it. So you would need to like cut away as much as you can and then rinse it because you wouldn't be able to like pull it away. The Badge Master is just too thick for that. And you will have to rinse a little bit more than you would with a topper because it is thicker. But you could definitely use it on top. It's going to be more difficult to get away.
Basically, we both said it wouldn't be our first choice, but if that's the only option that you had and you really needed a topper, in a pinch. But you would have to treat it very differently as well.
Right. And you would want to rinse it out really well because one of the the only thing that I can ever say negative about Badge Master is, we talked very briefly earlier, is it's stiff. So if you don't rinse it all the way out, it actually becomes very stiff.
It actually is almost like starch.
Like heavy starch.
It becomes like really, really heavy starch in whatever you're doing. So you have to continuously rinse. So maybe rinse and then rinse your bucket and get fresh water and rinse again. Just throwing it in the wash, which is sometimes what I will do with topper. I'll rip off everything I can and then just like, okay, and I just throw it in the wash on a rinse cycle and I'm done.
We'll do that with Badge Master.
Badge Master will not work for that.
No.
So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah.
So in a really tight pinch, but I would avoid it if possible.
Yes.
So, all right.
That's it.
So thanks for hanging on. As I was starting to say before we lost Facebook, hopefully, like Shirley, you have gained something from all of this information. That is certainly our goal. We're sorry we didn't get a stabilizer event done this year, but perfectly honest, this is easier than a 5-hour day.
Yeah.
So hopefully you feel the same way. So this has been fun.
Yeah. We have our dime event on Friday, which is a great veer since we've just been talking about all kinds of different stabilizers.
So it is an applique event. If you have not registered, you can check in. I don't know, was it in the
It's
one
on
that you sent?
Facebook.
It was on the last email we sent out.
And it'll
with
be on
classes,
this
and
Friday's email as well.
It'll go out there too. So if you haven't registered, you can register, and then you'll get emailed a direct link of boom, and it'll send you right there. The reason, even if you're not interested in applique, the reason that you should log in is there's sale items that are there.
Yeah, they'll have good sales.
There'll be some nice sales. If you have been waiting to get a magnetic hoop, it's a great time to get a magnetic hoop. They will ship it directly to your house, which is awesome. Maybe you wanted to add to your magnetic hoops because you've already got some and you're like, I really wish I had this size or whatever. It's a great time to do that. And there'll be the sale, plus there'll be free shipping if you reach a certain, which magnetic hoops generally reach that number, so you'd be covered with that. They will also have
some stabilizers and probably some, I'm guessing there'll be some of the OESD vinyl or something.
Probably, because it's applique, the Luxe vinyl, which is a sewable vinyl, not a heat transfer vinyl. It's actually got like a material backing. It's fantastic stuff. It is so fun to work with.
They have a new one, translucent. It's like mermaid shimmer. It's very pretty.
Absolutely cool. So lots of things that are upcoming. It's so fun that Dime and OESD have blended their lives, because that opens up our possibilities for some things like Dime events. Gives us more options of what's going to be there and on sale.
And you should be able to shop all through the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It'll go away Monday.
You can click that link all weekend. So if Friday at noon does not work, don't stress. Click it whenever it works for you. Just click it before Sunday night, because that is when it will go away.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining. Hope you've had a great time with us and learned whole bunches of stuff. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Stupid thing. I know we have people that do Facebook.